Yeah, I really don't like this Pokemon. I don't like the design. Yeah, probably the most controversial event and mechanic that they've put in the game. I didn't realise that it was a shiny until the sparkles came up. That research was given to players like, you know, in 2021 or something. Here is my favourite shiny that I've caught this month. Hello, everybody. My name is Hughie, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at all of the Pokemon that I caught during August 2025. And there was a lot of really great events happening in August, so there's going to be a lot to look at in today's video. Today's September 2nd, so I'm a little bit late getting this recorded. But yeah, without further ado, let's take a look at what I got up to in the game during August. So I've sorted the Pokemon in reverse chronological order, which means this Staryu was caught in July, so we're not looking at that Staryu. But here is the first Pokemon that I've kept from August, which is Shiny Esper. And I've had a few Shiny Esper now. I think there's been a few events where it's been featured as a shiny boosted spawn, and it just seems to be one that I get quite often. But you know, I'm never going to say no to a shiny. You can see here we have a few purified Pokemon, and these are probably left over from my evolution video, which if you've not watched, I'll put a little card up here, and that'll link you to that video if you're interested. But I just evolved a load of Pokemon that I'd never evolved before, and I did it without a lucky egg on for some reason, despite the fact I knew that you get more XP. But anyway, it's done now. I can see Shadow Dialga. So Giovanni was knocking around again, wasn't he, in August? And if you defeated him, you got a Shadow Dialga, which is really cool. This one still has frustration, and I'll DM that away. I think there's another Team Rocket event coming up, and I'll DM frustration away on Dialga as soon as that happens. So there's quite a lot. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about in here, so I'm going to go through it quite quickly. Here we have a shiny Combi from the Sweet Treats event right at the beginning of August. A little bit upsetting that it's a male Combi, meaning it can't be evolved, but I'm still glad to have the Dex entry. It was the only shiny I managed to get from the event, so I'm happy to have any at all. And then next up is my Apex Lugia from the Masterwork research. That was, I think that was given away, that research was given to players like, you know, in 2021 or something. And it's just been sat on my account waiting to be completed, but I finally finished that in August. So, there's my Apex Lugia. As I go through this, I'm remembering now, there was an event that featured both Snom and Tandemaus. Wasn't it like Cozy something? It's funny, this was only about 3 weeks ago and I've already forgotten. This is how fast things move in Pokemon GO. But Tandemaus was added to the game. Snom, well, I didn't have a Snom before this, but maybe it was in the game before then. And then you can see from all these Munchlax, and this shiny Munchlax, in the middle of that we had an egg-based day event, where every egg that you hatched was guaranteed to be a Munchlax, and it was boosted shiny odds as well. And I managed to get 2 shiny Munch, so there's a bit of a tongue twister, isn't it? 2 shiny Munchlax during that event. Here's the shiny Trevenant that I evolved in that evolve video. Here we can see the raid day, which was part August. So this was on a weekend in mid to early August. And, you know, notorious Niantic. They're notorious for forgetting to turn things on, aren't they? Forgetting to turn on shiny boosts and stuff. So players were given a make-up event for not getting the correct odds for their shiny Dialga and Palkia during this raid event. So you can see there's quite a few. I did manage to get lucky on that raid event. I think I got 5 shinies in total. And then we were given 2 extra guaranteed shinies after that, weren't we? A Dialga and a Palkia. I had a really great time playing this event, and I managed to get Roar of Time and Spatial Rend, which are the adventure effects for both Pokemon, and that's ultimately what I wanted. But some of you may have seen already, there's another shiny just down there that I actually got on the raid day as well. Shiny Gigantamax. And the temptation is there to evolve this because I think the most, is it the rarest or the least likely shiny in the game is the family of 3 Mousehold. The Gigantamax evolves into Mousehold. Normally it would have two little kid mice with it, but if you're lucky you can get a family of 3, and the shiny family of 3 is really unlikely to happen. So the temptation is there to try and evolve it and see what I get, but it's probably more valuable as a trade bait, unevolved. There was a 3rd shiny Munchlax that I forgot about. That must have been in a straggler egg. Here's the Delmise, and this was from the reward road for August. And I actually wasn't really familiar with this Pokemon, if I'm honest. I've never seen it before. And Drampa, I believe this may have been a reward road as well. And I had seen this one. In the TCG, but I'd never had one in Pokemon GO before August. So that was a new Dex entry for me. Now I'm second guessing myself about that Shadow Dialga. I don't know where the Shadow Dialga came from because I've also got this Shadow Giratina. Maybe I have one. I had a Giovanni encounter stacked or something and I managed to do it twice. I don't know what's happened there, but I'm happy to have both of them. Here we can see the Pokemon World Championship Pikachu with his little varsity jacket. I think he had this costume because it was in Florida, was it in Anaheim? I'm not sure. And the first remote raids I'd done in years were for these Kyogre, and I really enjoyed this event. I wasn't sure if the shiny rates were going to be boosted, but I did manage to get 2 shiny Shadow Kyogre, and I'm really happy about that because Kyogre and Groudon are 2 of my most rated Pokemon, and I never managed to get a shiny of either. And I'm looking forward to, in a few weekends' time, Shadow Groudon will be getting a raid weekend, and I'll be doing a few raids, and maybe I'll put a video on the channel of me raiding it, but yeah, really happy to get these Shadow Kyogre. You can see here that this shiny is a French shiny Shadow Kyogre. Yeah, really happy, really enjoyed that raid weekend. So now we're getting to the max finale event with the Dark Skies background, and this is probably one of my favourite Pokemon that I managed to get during that whole week. Shiny Drillbur. Shiny Dynamax Drillbur with the Dark Skies background. And the reason this was my most useful Max Pokemon catch, which was from the Reward Road, and it's the most useful because it is a Hundo Dynamax Blissey, and I've leveled up the Max Spirit move, which heals your team to the max, and it was really useful. I actually managed to solo some of the tougher raid bosses, not like a Gigantamax or anything, but I managed to solo some of the like 3-star D-Max Pokemon and stuff like that. You can see here that I've tagged some of the Pokemon I got that had backgrounds on. And here is my favourite shiny that I've caught this month. Well, this is my favourite shiny that I caught in the whole of August, and I caught it just in a car park whilst I was getting my hair cut. Yeah, and you'll see, if I scroll forward just a little bit, we also had Lechonk Spotlight Hour, and we were really hunting for another one, and I still haven't cleaned this up yet. But yeah, really happy to have that as a shiny. Now this is a funny one. I found myself thinking that I couldn't remember what shiny Dwebble looked like as I clicked on this random encounter with one in the wild, and I didn't realise that it was a shiny until the sparkles came up. This is a Pokemon that really could do with a redesign of its shiny. There's some more Dark Skies backgrounds, and here we have Zacian, so this was me starting to get into the raids, I think. Here we have the main event, and I've tagged that gold bottle cap, and you know what, I'm going to take that off right now. Yeah, probably the most controversial event and mechanic that they've put in the game. Only one encounter, and you need thousands and thousands of candy to evolve Eternatus, and yeah, people weren't happy to not get an encounter, especially when there's a mechanic in the game that when you beat a Gigantamax Pokemon you have the chance of encountering a Dynamax Pokemon. I feel like it wouldn't have been too difficult to make it so that beating Eternatus gives you a chance to encounter a Gigantamax or a Dynamax, you know, wouldn't have been too difficult, and people would have felt like it was worth doing those raids for the candy. I don't know. Here we have my second shiny Zacian, and funny story, this has better IVs than my other one that I've already turned into the ground shield form. So, you know, yeah, really happy to get that, and I'll be powering that one up and turning it into the ground shield as well. Now we have the first Gigantamax Pokemon that I caught during the raid weekend, this Gigantamax Snorlax. And it's, you know, it's nothing to write home about, it's a pretty average IV, but I'm happy to have it. Here we have a Gigantamax Kingler, and yeah, Kingler probably ended up being my most raided Gigantamax, and I'm not really sure how that happened. It wasn't like a decision, it just happened to be that I did more Kingler raids than anything else. Yeah, a bit of a weird one. Here's Gigantamax Gengar with the background. That's such a great design. Gigantamax Inteleon, and yeah, I've powered this one up. That's my best Inteleon, my best Sobble, and it's a Gigantamax form, which is it might be the strongest max water type attacker. Don't quote me on that, but that's from memory. And yeah, the event was themed around the Gigantamax and the Dynamax battles, and I really had a really good weekend going around and raiding. I managed to do quite a few Eternatus. There was one point when in the city that I was raiding in, we hadn't seen anybody else playing all day, and we turned a corner and I'm not joking, there was 100 plus people walking in a line towards us from around this corner. But it was really cool to see so many people out and playing and enjoying themselves. Here's a shiny Phalanx. I got this on the Sunday of the weekend, and I wasn't really hunting for this, but it was just a lucky encounter, and I was glad to get it. Here you can see my one and only Dondozo. I really don't like this Pokemon. I don't like the design, so I just grabbed one for my Dex entry, and maybe I'll try and get a shiny in another event when it's more common. But that was the focus of like a water themed event with these Slackoth with their sun visor as well. And that brings us up to Rockety Community Day, which was the second last day of August. And on the last day of August, I managed to catch this 96% IV Rockety, shiny Rockety, which was my best of the weekend. And I was really glad to get that from the Community Day extended rewards thing. And finally, this lucky Gigantamax Charizard with the dark skies background, which I traded for a Inteleon G-Max with the background. And that about does it for my August in Pokemon GO. Let me know what your best catch of the month was, and